Recently, my client Hossam lost 7 pounds of pure fat and dropped 1.5 inches off his waist in just 23 days. He didn't rely on extreme diets, miracle supplements, or hours of endless cardio. Instead, he followed these 5 straightforward habits I'm about to share with you today. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Belly fat is notoriously stubborn. It often feels like it's holding on for dear life, determined to be the last thing to go. But if you've been working at fat loss for a while and you've already seen solid progress, like my client Hossam, who was over 40 pounds down, these 5 habits will help you break through that plateau in the next 30 days. People always raise an eyebrow when I tell them the number 1 habit that got me to 5% body fat last year was simply walking. No HIIT sessions, no marathons, just consistent daily walks. By adding a 60-minute walk each day, I effortlessly dropped 10 pounds of fat in just 30 days. Yes, for some of you, walking might seem as thrilling as sitting through another PowerPoint presentation at work. It's definitely not going to leave you gasping for breath or sweating, but that's exactly why it's perfect. It's low impact, burns around 400 to 600 calories, depending on your weight and speed, if you hit 10,000 steps a day. It won't destroy your recovery, it'll actually boost it. And look, if you're feeling particularly ambitious or your dog guilt trips you into an extra walk, bump it up to 15,000 steps. It certainly won't hurt. Your phone or smartwatch probably nags you about everything else. Why not use it for something helpful for once? Track your steps daily and don't let yourself hit the pillow until you've hit about 10,000 steps. The next habit is something most people completely overlook and many others get painfully wrong. When losing fat, your primary goal should always be to build, or at the very least, preserve muscle. Now, I know it sounds a bit backwards. Wait, Adam, I thought we were talking about losing fat. Trust me, stick with me here. A lot of coaches and fitfluencers will say it's about boosting your metabolism. And sure, having extra muscle helps a bit with that. But here's the real reason. Nobody wants to end up skinny fat. Seriously, I promise you, you'll be far happier with a lean, muscular physique rather than looking like you've just shrunk your clothes in the dryer. The number 1 way to build muscle is progressive resistance training. Your aim should always be adding weight or reps over time. In my experience, the double progression model, where you add reps first, then increase weight, is the simplest way to progress consistently. But here's the catch. You actually need to push yourself. Each set should end with around 1 to 3 reps left in the tank, known as training with 1 to 3 RIR or reps in reserve. Yes, it might feel challenging, but that's the whole point. Let's simplify things even more. Pick 4 to 6 exercises per workout and aim for 3 to 5 of them to be compound lifts. Over the week, most people see optimal muscle growth with around 10 to 15 hard sets per major muscle group. Yes, the recommendations are 10 to 20 hard sets, but rarely do I come across someone who requires over 15. If you're relatively new, don't underestimate how much muscle you can gain from just 5 quality sets per muscle group per week. With my clients, I always start on the lower end of the volume and only add more when they genuinely need it. And one last tip, please, for your own sanity, track your workouts. It takes less than a minute and prevents you from wandering around the gym guessing what weight you lifted last week. You can use a notebook or an app like Heavy or Alpha Progression. I want you to block out your workouts on your calendar and make them a non-negotiable, just like you do meetings you can't skip. Don't stress about finding the perfect split, upper, lower, push-pull legs, some hybrid, full body. They can all work really well if you're meeting the criteria I outlined about a minute or so ago. Now we've tackled exercise, let's dive into nutrition, the area most people overcomplicate. Let's get one thing clear first. You need a calorie deficit, and tracking calories is the simplest way to do that. But as I mentioned in a recent video, if your calorie deficit feels like punishment rather than something sustainable, you're setting yourself up to fail. You can't walk around hungry all day and expect to stick with it. That's why protein and fiber are your secret weapons. Protein is number one when it comes to dieting. It burns up to 30% of its calories just through digestion alone, compared to a modest 5 to 10% from carbs and about 0 to 3% for fats. In other words, your body works overtime just to digest it. Plus, protein keeps you feeling satisfied for hours, reducing those all too familiar late night kitchen visits where peanut butter straight from the jar suddenly seems like the perfect snack. It is always peanut butter for some reason. It goes without saying, protein will also support your efforts in the gym and help at the very least maintain muscle. But let's not sleep on fiber. Yep, the stuff your grandma always nagged you about. Fiber quietly helps you shed fat by triggering your body to produce more short chain fatty acids. These are fancy sounding compounds that can help your body improve gut health and potentially burn more fat. Plus, fiber fills your stomach, making you feel fuller and helps you avoid overeating. Here's how to make this practical without living off chicken and broccoli alone. Make some high protein swaps. We're talking about lean protein here. Go for low fat Greek yogurt instead of regular yogurt, shrimp instead of fatty steaks, extra egg whites with your whole eggs, and a quick protein shake if you're running short on time or you want to top up a meal. Aim for roughly 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of your goal body weight per day. Some easy fiber boosts. Swap white rice for potatoes, lentils, or quinoa. Add chia or flax seeds to your oats. Add berries to your meals, or throw beans into your meals or meat. Pile your plate high with non-starchy vegetables. And I want you to aim for at least 14 grams of fiber per 1,000 calories you consume. So there you have it. Protein and fiber aren't trendy fads. They're quiet, dependable nutritional tweaks that'll steadily make staying in a calorie deficit significantly easier. And let's be honest, I couldn't really give you 5 habits without talking about the next one. Now, let's talk about alcohol before I get some stick. Everyone's favorite social lubricant and the official sponsor of late night pizza orders. Look, I get it. After a brutal week at work, a glass or bottle of wine can seem like the only thing between you and insanity. But here is the thing. Alcohol doesn't just cause you to humiliate yourself, it quietly derails your fat loss efforts. It lowers your fat burning potential, wrecks your sleep quality, and nudges you towards questionable food and life choices. Also, let's not forget how easy it is to drink up an extra 500 calories from alcohol alone. When I dramatically reduced my drinking, I noticed my belly shrinking faster and my workouts suddenly felt a whole lot easier. Turns out sobriety might be the cheapest performance enhancer out there. So I want you to try 30 days free of alcohol. Look, you'll probably be annoyed at how much better you feel and how much easier dropping belly fat becomes. The last habit will make the 4 habits we just covered a lot easier to form. You can eat like a monk and train like a pro athlete, but if your sleep is terrible, you're just making it a lot harder on yourself. I had a client who had nailed everything, tracked calories and trained like clockwork, but barely saw the scale budge. Turns out his sleep was a disaster. Once we got this sorted, he started seeing significant reductions in belly fat. And as you may know, poor sleep sends your hunger hormones into chaos. Ghrelin, your I could eat a horse hormone, shoots up, while leptin, your I'm full thanks hormone, plummets. Not exactly helpful when you're trying to avoid that sneaky late night snack or snacks. To make things worse, lousy sleep actually slows your metabolism, making every calorie cling to you a little longer. What I want you to do is set a strict bedtime alarm, like an hour before you want to sleep. Take it as seriously as your morning alarm when you actually need to get up. Develop a calming pre-bedtime routine to help your body wind down. Your waistline and your morning mood will thank you. Dim the lights in your room, drop all devices 1 hour before bed, stop eating 2 to 3 hours before bed, and cool your room. So you've probably seen videos promising 5-minute abs or kill your belly fat in 1 week. But let's be real, if spot reduction worked to a noticeable degree, everyone would have abs, and I'd probably be out of a job. Sure, weighted progressive crunches will strengthen your core and build some muscle underneath, making your abs more visible at higher body fat percentages, but they're not magic. The uncomfortable truth is your belly fat is usually the last thing to go. Your body decides where the fat comes off first, and your stomach is typically the most stubborn. The only genuine hack here is consistency. Keep losing fat steadily, and eventually your belly won't have a choice but to shrink. Remember, the goal isn't just to lose belly fat temporarily, it's to keep it off permanently. That's why quick fixes don't work long term. But these 5 habits do, because they're realistic, sustainable, and effective. If you're ready to finally lose your unwanted belly fat, go follow the link in the description and apply to my one-to-one coaching. Have the best day, and I'll see you in the next video.